ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादि पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रीमद्भागवतम कैंटो 8 चैप्टर 21 वर्स 25। श्री शुक उवाच पत्युर्निगदितं श्रुत्वा दैत्यदानवयूतपाः रसां निर्विविशूराजन् विष्णुपार्षदताडिताः। Shukadeva Goswami continued, O king, in accordance with the order of their master, Bali Maharaj, all the chiefs of demons and the Daityas entered the lower regions of the universe, to which they were driven by the soldiers of Vishnu. Atha Tarkshasuto Gnatva Virat Prabhuchiki. Is this where we stopped? Only we have a doubt. Okay.
Until 26 it was done, Prabhu.
26.
Yes, Prabhu.
Why don't I remember? Okay. Thereafter, on the day of Somapana, after the sacrifice was finished, Garuda, king of the birds, understanding the desire of his master, arrested Bali Maharaja with the ropes of Varuna. Garuda, the constant companion of the Supreme Person of Godhead, knows the confidential part of the Lord's desire. Bali Maharaja's tolerance and devotion were undoubtedly super excellent. Garuda arrested Bali Maharaj to show the entire universe the greatness of the king's tolerance. So this was an insult to be arrested by the ropes of Varuna. But based on Krishna's Vamana Dev's desire, Bali Maharaj was tied up by ropes. King of birds, understanding the desire of his master. So Garuda understood that the desire of Vamana Dev was to bind Bali Maharaj with the ropes of Varuna. No, ropes of Varuna means very difficult. It can't be, somebody can't escape once they are bound by the ropes of Varuna. So here Prabhupada is writing saying that Garuda arrested Bali Maharaj to show the entire universe the greatness of the king's tolerance. Bali Maharaj's tolerance and devotion were undoubtedly super excellent. Now, this is so difficult uh, to have tolerance in the face of whatever happens in this world. Tolerating the urges of the senses, tolerating how others deal with us, tolerating challenges that come on the path of bhakti. Um, so many challenges. Then tolerance towards our bodily difficulties, our sufferings that come. Um, that's why Krishna in the very beginning of Bhagavad Gita says, Matra Sparshastu Kaunteya, Sitoshna Sukha Dukkha Dahata, Agama Paino Anityastam Stitikshasva. So we have to tolerate. Tolerance is very, very important. And most of the times, we are tolerant to a certain degree, and then somehow we fail. And then again, we have to try. We have to keep trying till we are able to be completely tolerant, irrespective of what happens. Right? So very, very difficult to do. Um, so we can keep on trying, depending on Guru and Krishna's mercy. Mm. But so Bali Maharaj's tolerance and devotion were undoubtedly super excellent. So this is very, very important characteristic of a devotee to be tolerant. And generally, when this topic of tolerance comes, most devotees ask this question: should I be? What if people are ill-treating me, misusing my good nature, etc.? Should I be tolerant? Should I um, counter, retort or anything? But Shastra clearly says that with respect to things that happen to us, we have to be tolerant. When it comes to things happening to other devotees or to Krishna or to ISKCON or anything like that, we can be intolerant. And it's a very, very difficult quality because uh, how can one be tolerant on one front and intolerant on the other, right? But that is the thing that has to be learnt. So tolerance with respect to our own body, tolerance with respect to our own mind. Now these things are very much required. So we have to tolerate. On one end, we have to tolerate. On the other end, we can be intolerant when it comes to other devotees and things like that. As in other devotees and other devotees suffering, or somebody is inflicting some pain on some other devotee or on ISKCON or like that, then we can be intolerant. But when it comes to things that are connected to our own mind, body, personal situation, one has to be tolerant. Very difficult, but mandatorily required. Because when we remain intolerant means that we still have some material attachment, because of which we lose tolerance. Um, and we can't go back to Krishna, unfortunately. Mm. 27. Hahakaro mahanasid rodasyo sarvato disham nigryamane surapatau Vishnuna Prabha Vishnuna. And Bali Maharaj was thus arrested by Lord Vishnu, who is the most powerful. There was a great roar of lamentation in all directions throughout the upper and lower planetary systems of the universe. There was a great roar because they are thinking that, oh, Bali is being arrested. But it is just Lord's mercy which will be revealed. So basically, Lord wanted to glorify Bali Maharaj's tolerance and his devotion. So he did that, but others could not understand. So there was a great roar. Tam baddham varunai pasher bhagavanaha vamanaha nashta shriyam sthira pragnam udaraya samdrupa. O King, the Supreme Person of Godhead, Vamana Deva, then spoke to Bali Maharaj, the most liberal and celebrated personality. Uh, Bali Maharaj was not a demon. Bali Maharaj was the most liberal and he was also celebrated personality. So Vamanadev had arrested such a person with the ropes of Varuna. Bali Maharaj had lost all bodily luster, but he was nonetheless fixed in his determination. Krishna. So, so Vamanadev was testing. so, so many difficult tests again and again, again and again, again and again. Bali Maharaj was being really harassed. But he was completely tolerant and he was fixed in his determination that he had said that he's going to give 3 steps of land. So he did not budge from it. So Prabhupada writes a very nice purport. When one is bereft of all his possessions, he is certainly reduced in bodily luster. But although Bali Maharaj had lost everything, he was fixed in his determination to satisfy Vamana Dev. Bhagavad Gita, such a person is called Sthita Pragna. A pure devotee is never deviated from the service of the Lord despite all difficulties and impediments offered by the illusory energy. Hmm. Sometimes it's difficulties and impediments offered by illusory energy. Sometimes it is by Krishna himself to test the devotee. Many times devotees ask me saying that, what about when devotees are troubling other devotees? What is that? So possibly it is that the devotees who are troubling are affected by my illusory energy. Um, or it could be that Krishna is making something like that happen. It could be either way. We don't know. So the best thing for us is to think about what I have to learn. What is the learning for me in the situation, irrespective whether the other person is influenced by illusory energy or by Krishna? How does it matter to us? It doesn't matter to us. For us, the important thing is, okay, what is the learning? Is there any learning? Right? And that's what we need to be looking at. Um, and many times it's very, very difficult to identify it. Very difficult to identify. So then we might have to talk to other devotees who might understand our situation, who might know our situation, etc. And then maybe they can help us. But many times even that is difficult. So deep introspection is required based on clear understanding of philosophy as presented by Srila Prabhupada, and then praying to Krishna for mercy. Uh, Eventually, we might figure out saying that this is the reason that I'm actually having to experience these things. And instead of thinking like that, if we simply become intolerant, saying that, no, what is this? It's not fair. I've never not done anything like this. Then we are just losing the opportunity to become purer. Um, it's easier said than done, but that's what we need to look out for. And especially if our intentions are pure, then most possibly it is Krishna's test. Hmm. So pure devotee never deviates from his service of the Lord. Generally, men who have wealth and opulence are famous. But Bali Maharaja became famous for all time by being deprived of all his possessions. See, Bali Maharaj is not remembered because he became the master of the 3 worlds. He is remembered because he gave up everything to Vamana Dev. So, of course, we don't have to think that, okay, I'm going to give up everything for Krishna so that I may become famous. No. But by giving up everything for Krishna's pleasure, we become dear to Krishna, which is the most valuable thing, incomparable to just becoming famous in this miserable material world. Who wants to become famous? This is the special mercy of the Supreme Lord toward his devotees. Lord says, Yasyaham anugrunnami harishya tadhanam shanai. Like we discussed already, Prabhupada has said, saying that it's not that Krishna is going to take away from everybody. He's going to take away from those devotees who want to become pure but still have material attachments. He will take away. But both have to be there, that we want to become pure and we have material attachments. If you don't want to become pure and we have material attachments, that means that it is just still Mishra Bhakti, and Krishna will not object. Krishna will still, help us make progress. But this taking away business is for pure devotees. Mm. Like Prabhupada, Krishna knew that Prabhupada had a mission. Prabhupada didn't know. So Prabhupada was in so to speak, in his own world, his own business and trying to grow that and this and that and all that. But Krishna is saying, boss, what are you doing? So, but Prabhupada has repeated. Krishna was repeatedly killing Prabhupada's business and Prabhupada was repeatedly trying. So then Krishna finally decided no and take away everything. I mean, we in a situation is such a way that no hope of re-establishing. So like that, Krishna took away everything from Prabhupada, and then Prabhupada inevitably then came to Vrindavan and then created history. So, as the first installment of his special favor, the Lord takes away all the possessions of his devotee. A devotee, however, is never disturbed by such a loss. He continues his service, and the Lord amply rewards him beyond the expectations of any common man. So, again, Prabhupada is saying that the Lord will reward, but again, the devotee doesn't want any reward. The devotee just wants pleasure, that Krishna and Guru are happy. That's all that is required. But Lord might reward, it's up to him, like he gave Dhruva Maharaj. So he gave Sudama. So he might give, it's up to him. We can't we can't order the Lord saying that, hey, you have to give this. Hmm. But irrespective of devotee is never disturbed by any loss. In fact, devotee is enthusiastic to give things to Krishna that he possesses. Says, okay, if this can come into service, into Krishna's service, then I'll be most happy. So devotees are not reluctant to give what they have to Krishna because they love Krishna. Mm. They're ready to give anything for Krishna. At the same time, Krishna is also ready to give anything to the devotee. Krishna is ready to give himself to such devotees. What more will one want? Mm. Prabhupada writes that this is the sweet relationship between Krishna and his devotee. Mm. Devotee always wants to please Krishna, and Krishna is always looking for opportunities to please his devotee, to serve his devotee. And this is the loving relationship. So, uh, but if one is materially attached and still wants to become pure, then Krishna will take away. Krishna will take away because he knows that that's the only way that that devotee who wants to become pure will actually come to that stage of purity. So, but a devotee is never disturbed. Whatever Krishna does, he knows best. पदानि त्रीणि दत्तानि भूमेर्मह्यं त्वयासुरा द्वाभ्यां क्रान्ता मही सर्वा तृतीयम् उपकल्पया. So Vamanadev is talking to Bali Maharaj. He's saying, O king of demons, you promised to give me 3 steps of land, but I've occupied the entire universe with just 2 steps. Now think about where I should put my third. Now, obviously, you see, Vamanadev did not say, oh, okay, you don't have any other place. So he just said, think where you want me to put the third step. यावत्तपत्यसौ गोभिर्यावदिन्दुः सहोदुभिः यावद्वर्षति पर्जन्यस्तावती भूरियं तव. As far as the sun and moon shine with the stars and as far as the clouds pour rain, all the land throughout the universe is in your possession. So he's saying, you tell now, what will you give? Everything in these 3 worlds belongs to you, and now I've occupied everything in 2 steps. पदैकेन मया क्रान्तो भूलोकः खं दिशस्तनोः स्वर्लोकस्ते द्वितीयेन पश्यतस्ते स्वमात्मना. Of these positions, with 1 step I've occupied Bhurloka, and with my body I've occupied the entire sky and all directions. And in your presence, with my second step, I've occupied the upper planetary system. So he's saying that, so I've occupied everything that you have. According to the Vedic description of the planetary system, all the planets move from east to west. The Sun, the Moon, and 5 other planets such as Mars and Jupiter orbit one above another. The Sun also orbits. Sun is not fixed like they tell us in our schools. Earth is fixed. Everything else moves around the Earth. Vamanadev, however, expanding his body and extending his steps, occupied the entire planetary system. It's like child's play. प्रतिश्रुतं मदात्तस्ते निरये वास इष्यते विषत्वं निरयं तस्मात् गुरुणा चानुमोदितः. Because you've been unable to give charity according to your promise, the rule is that you should go down to live in the hellish planet. So, if somebody breaks their promise, then they would go to hell, punishment. Therefore, in accordance with the order of Shukracharya, your spiritual master, now go down and live there. Purport Narayana para sarve na kutaschana bibhyati. Swargapa varga narakeshwapi tulyarthadarshinaha. Hmm. Bhagavatam, 6th canto. Narayana para. One who is Narayana para, meaning who is engaged, solely engaged in the service of Lord Narayana. Na kutaschana bibhyati. Never fear any condition of life. Swarga, apavarga, narakeshu. Swarga or apavarga means liberation or naraka. Api tulyartha darshina. Everything is equal. For such devotees are interested only in the service of the Lord. So they don't mind whether they are in Swarga, Naraka, whether they are in Goloka. All they are worried about is that they are engaged in service. Of course, while we say this, but devotees also want to be in Goloka, want to be with Krishna. Uh, because that is their sweet relationship with Krishna. But for Krishna's pleasure, they are okay to go anywhere. That's how we have to understand. Not that devotees say, no, 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 it's okay. Let Krishna be in Goloka, I will be here. No. And devotees can't stay away from Krishna, but if Krishna wants the devotee to go somewhere, then devotee is ready to do that for Krishna's pleasure. A devotee engaged in the service of Narayana is always in equilibrium. A devotee actually lives transcendentally. So we have to live transcendentally. And when we live materially, we experience the happiness and distress of this material world. So when we experience happiness and distress of this material world, we can understand we are still on the material platform. We have not reached the transcendental platform. Brahmabhuta prasannatmano sochati na kankshati. So when we reach that spiritual platform, then we are not affected by anything of this material world. But it takes a lot of sadhana. And sometimes also Krishna sometimes immediately doesn't give results also of our sadhana. It is also even worse for us. uh, because he wants to see whether, without seeing results, are you still willing to serve me? Or you are doing all this for results? So he might not even give results immediately. So which means that maybe it might seem like we are in like really fallen situation, but we still have to continue to try, endeavor. Mm. And then when the time comes, Krishna will give us his mercy, and then suddenly we'll see ourselves in a very elevated transcendental position. So we have to be patient. Utsaha, Nishchaya, Dhairya. So you have to be patient in devotion. Mm. Sometimes it's difficult, this material world. Sometimes for devotees who develop that, who reach the higher stages of devotion, they can't live without Krishna for a moment. But then all of this has to be, one has to undergo peacefully. Can't help. It's all in Krishna's hands. A devotee actually lives transcendentally. Although he may appear to have gone to hell or heaven, he does not live in either place. Rather, he always lives in Vaikuntha. Sagunan samatityetan brahmabhuyaya kalpate. Because he's always thinking about Krishna. He is always serving Krishna. So that is Goloka consciousness. In Goloka, everybody is just engaged in service of Krishna all the time. There's nothing else. There's nothing like a material life. Mm. There's nothing like going to college. Nothing like going to work the way work is defined in this world. It's all for the pleasure of Krishna. That's all. So it's all devotional service. There's nothing else there. Mm. Yeah. Vamandev asked Bali Maharaj to go to the hellish planets, apparently just to show the entire universe how tolerant he was. Bali Maharaj did not hesitate to carry out the order. So he went to the lower planet, which are all hellish. A devotee does not live alone. Of course, everyone lives with the Supreme Person of Godhead, but because the devotee is engaged in his service, he actually does not live in any material condition. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Kita Janma Hoy Yatha Tuyadas. Oh. He prays to take birth as an insignificant Kita, insect in the association of devotees. Because devotees are engaged in the service of the Lord, anyone who lives with them also lives in Vaikuntha. So, uh, it's like praying to be the dog of a devotee, uh, praying to be a servant in a devotee's house. All of these are glorious because then we get the association of Vaishnavas. And what is more valuable in this world than devotee association? So here Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, it's okay, let me become an insect. Let me become an insect in a devotee's house. Uh, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is singing like that, and we are thinking, oh, I am so qualified. I'm going to go to Goloka. Mm, So this is our fallen condition. Anyway, we have to still desire, but we should also understand that we are far from it and keep striving, desiring. Many times this question comes to us saying that, it's so difficult. How can we do? I keep saying the only answer is that if we really absolutely want to go to Krishna, then we are ready to do anything. But the desire has to come first in the heart, saying that I want to be with Krishna, I want to be with Radha and Krishna. Uh, and why should one develop that desire? Because there is nothing else even remotely close to the bliss one experiences when they are with Radha and Krishna. It's unimaginable bliss. And the whole goal of this existence is to be in the service of Radha and Krishna. And things of this material world, we've been here, we've done all this puna puna charvita charvananam. We've been trying to chew the same material world, same thing, same nonsense, multiple lifetimes. But we've not got Radha and Krishna. So one has to desire that, saying, and that's why Prabhupada says that give one life to Krishna. Give just one life to Krishna. That is enough to go back to him. वृथा मनोरथस्तस्य दूरस्वर्गपतत्यदः प्रतिश्रुतस्यादानेन योऽर्थिनं विप्रलम्भते. Far from being elevated to the heavenly planets or fulfilling one's desire, one who does not properly give a beggar what he has promised falls down to a hellish condition of life. So, Vaman Dev is, further insulting Bali Maharaj, saying that you are thinking of, you're in heaven, heavenly planets, and uh, you can't even fully, properly fulfill the promise you gave to a beggar. Mm. So, where else will you go apart from the hell? Just testing. Ashlishya va padaratam pinashtumam. Adarshanan marmahatam karotu va yatha tatha va vidadatu lampato mat prananatastu sevana. Radharani is singing Shikshastaka. Last verse of Shikshastaka is the mood of Radharani. He is saying yatha tatha. However you want to deal with me, I don't care. But you are the Lord of my heart. Mm. Very difficult.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Mm.
Prabhu, from the last this thing, right, that you have failed to give the things to the beggar. So one thing which I have also felt is that Lord is also like he's a transcendental teaser also, right? He likes to create jokes with devotees because he took everything and now he's saying that he's beggar. So somehow I was hearing one lecture from some sannyasi in ISKCON that Krishna is a very uh, he's he basically likes to basically create something like I'm not getting the right word. Like he's a jealous lover. That sometimes he likes to see his devotees how they behave in such situations and all, and then he basically likes okay how the devotee comes out of that situation. So Lord is not a straightforward like like Lord Ram or Lord Ram is anyways Lord Vishnu, but like Lord Shiva who pleases very easily and all. Like Krishna is like he tests you from all the angles, and then that is his nature. So just wanted to understand like can we understand that aspect from this behavior, because Lord is also doing transcendental jokes here, right? Is
Yeah,
that
but this happens only with very exalted devotees. So these kind of dealings don't happen with ordinary devotees, because ordinary devotees, Krishna more than tests, Krishna purifies till we become pure, and then he might test. But for very very exalted devotees, he might take up this mood, but that also depends on the rasa. We can't generalize this. It totally depends on the rasa, the devotee involved, etc. So, like for example, he might not be able to do that with Yashoda Mata, like this kind of dealing, right? Because she's the superior to him. But he can do it with peers and like Gopas and Gopis. He might do that, right? But um, difficult to say what his mood is with respect to other devotees, sadhakas. Um, Mostly he will not do such kind of dealings with sadhakas, because it's very, yeah, we are already struggling here, right? So, but he might create situations which are going to see, from whatever I have understood from Prabhupada's purpose, is mostly whatever Krishna does, irrespective of what he does, is just to increase our hankering for him. That's all. Ultimately, that's all that it is. Irrespective of what mood he takes, how he deals with us, that all depends on him. He knows what is best. But from our perspective, it's just to increase our hankering. So, well, I can't comment if some sannyasi is saying, then it must be true. But I don't know. As in, with Bali Maharaj, obviously, because Bali Maharaj is very exalted. So, in the mood of teasing, he is actually glorifying Bali Maharaj. Um, but yeah, he's teasing, but not what is the word? Not in a negative sense, in the sense not to make the devotee feel bad. That's not the intention. See, this we have to understand. Krishna never does that. Even remotely, he doesn't want to hurt his devotees, right? And he's doing it just to glorify Bali Maharaj, saying that in spite of so much humiliation, still he was fixed in his vow, still he was fixed in his devotion, because he knew that this was Lord Vishnu. So it's just to show the extremity of the situation and how still Bali Maharaj was so fixed that in spite of being, harassed, embarrassed, insulted, everything, he's still fixed. So simply to glorify Bali Maharaj, right? I mean, it's not. See, when because he is moved with gopis is very difficult, different. So we can't compare. We can't compare his moods with different devotees. So at least with this respect to this particular Leela, it's more to glorify. Prabhupada already wrote, right? It's to glorify Bali Maharaj's exalted devotion and tolerance, that uh, Krishna is doing all this. Like I was saying, see, as sadhakas, we should not become worried, saying that, oh my God, I mean, if Krishna deals with me like this, what will happen? No, Krishna will not deal with us like that, because we are not on that platform. Uh, Krishna will deal with us in such a way that we can only become more purified, we can anchor more for him, and we become more dearer to him. That's all that he will do with sadhakas like us. But with pure
Hmm.
devotees, he has his mood, and they have their mood. So it's all India. What is the word? Like, in one sense, they're all independent to please each other. Even devotees are independent in the spiritual world. They are not under anybody's control. While everybody is under the control of Leela Shakti, and even Krishna. So it's an inconceivable situation, very different from the material world. But in the material world, it's just we can understand saying it's just for our purification that Krishna is doing these things. And which is why when we are talking about Krishna, it requires too much analysis. I mean, we can't just generally make some statement. So I can't answer your question. But yeah, here clearly he's to glorify Bali Maharaj, he's speaking, showing how material situations can be extreme, but a pure devotee doesn't give up his love for Krishna. Just
Yeah, I was like feeling that even with sadhakas too, sometimes I'm not sure. At least in my life, I've seen and some devotees also that sometimes Krishna takes you out of that thing which you like to do in devotional service also, and then he and then he creates some situation where let's say we get used to that service, and then suddenly he will shift it to different person, and then one
yeah,
day
that's what that I said. That is for our purification because we seem to be attached wrongly. So for to purify us, Krishna will do, but it's not. It's not this mood of. It's not a teasing mood, or it's not a. It's not this mood. It's just pure. See, for sadhakas, it's very very simple to understand. It's just purification and anchoring. That's all. There's nothing else because we are not. We don't deserve any other kind of relationship with Krishna. We are still far away from that, right? And when we get there, then Krishna will do what he wants to do. Like I said, then it is driven by the rasa in which the devotee is involved in.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
Being falsely proud of your possessions, you promised to give me land, but you could not fulfill your promise. Therefore, because your promise was false, you must live for a few years in hellish life. Now, this part we should understand, important. I think Prabhupada explains it here or in the following purports, maybe in the next chapter. See, one of the things that we come to know that actually Bali Maharaj had become proud because he became the emperor of the three worlds, and though he was a pure devotee, somehow he fell into this this pride. Actually, subsequently, I think in the next chapter, Prahlad Maharaj comes and tells, he thanks Vamandev, saying that thank you for doing this to my grandson, because he had become puffed up because of his superior position. So sometimes pure devotees, because of some situations, right? So they might develop some non-devotional qualities. So now Vamanadev is not mincing words. He's just directly saying, you have become falsely proud. You become falsely proud of your possessions. And then you also, one more mistake, you promised to give me land, you could not fulfill. So two things, you become falsely proud of your possessions and you thought that, oh, I have so much, I can give anything, and now you are not able to give. Both are wrong. Therefore, you must live for a few years in hellish life. Purport, the false prestige of thinking I'm very rich and I possess such vast property is another side of material life. Everything belongs to Supreme Lord Isha Vasyamidam Sarvam. Yatkincha Jagatyam Jagat. Bali Maharaj was undoubtedly the most exalted devotee, whereas previously he had maintained a misunderstanding due to false prestige. By the supreme will of the Lord, he now had to go to the hellish planets, but because he went there by the order of the Supreme Lord, he lived there more opulently than one could expect to live in the planets of heaven. But previously he had maintained a misunderstanding due to false prestige. So by the will of the Lord, now he's pulled down from that position of false prestige, but see what Krishna does. But he gives them more opulence than what he had. As soon as he realized, saying that, okay, Bali Maharaj had now given up false prestige, he gave him a more opulent position. So, you know, Krishna is unpredictable. He will do, but like I said, he is unpredictable in terms of what he will do. But why he will do, that's clear. Why he will do is clear. What he will do is. Mm. Can't explain. We can't reason. A devotee always lives with the Supreme Lord, engaging in his service, and therefore is always transcendent to hellish or heavenly residences. So again, when Prabhupada makes such statements, we have to understand this is our goal. We have to always live with Krishna. Meaning we should not live on the material platform. And the whole idea of giving, like a devotee association, strong devotee association is actually to make us remain transcendental at all times. Mm. Simple things can make us transcendental. If you're wearing Vaishnava clothes, can make us transcendental. If you're wearing a tilak, it can make us transcendental. If you see a devotee, it can make us transcendental. If you hear kirtan, it can make us transcendental. Mm. So many things can make us transcendental. Somehow we have to take help from all these and somehow remain on the transcendental platform. Mm. Also, when I used to go to work, I used to make sure that even if I'm wherever I'm going, I'm wearing a tilak, etc. Because it will, I have to remind myself, saying that okay, you might be some person in this organization, or you might have some position of power or whatever influence, but still you are a servant of Krishna. So that we don't cross our boundaries of being a servant of Krishna, because sometimes material positions can mislead us. We might get carried away by the material position and behave like a karmi. So it's important that all the time we keep thinking, am I on the transcendental platform? Am I living transcendentally? Am I living am I living in material consciousness? Am I living in spiritual consciousness? We have to keep thinking all the time. Then when we figure saying that how much we are materially engrossed, and we beg for mercy, mm, and then slowly, steadily, we will make progress. So this ends the 21st chapter. So in the next chapter, Balimara surrenders his life. So very beautiful chapter. And yeah, Prahlad Maharaj comes, and then very nice conversations we will hear. Okay. So I'll stop here if anybody has any questions, comments. Anything? All okay? Okay. We'll close. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Pancha kalpatarubhyashcha kripa sindhubhyo cha patitana pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha ananta koti vaishnava ki jai Sanatana Gaura Bhakti Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Pranam, Prabhu.